What is bias? How do you see it? Do you see it in artificial intelligence even? Let's find out. Okay, hello everyone. And today we are doing something a little bit different because as you notice that these videos here are mostly me talking. You see my boring face, my disappearing hair, and there's not much entertainment factor. So I figured, and I've been told by some people to mix it up, and I'm typically using my own photos. Yeah, as you know, on my website, I have poetry, photography, and other things, and I've been an avid collector of photographs, but that doesn't work for everything. So I've been looking at Canva, and Canva has this nice function to create artificial images, and their AI system is called Magic Media. I've tried it out, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the results, and hopefully this will be a little bit entertaining. It may seem a little bit of a departure from the darker topics that we've had before, but in true form, we'll get there. So don't underestimate my willingness to talk about bad stuff. So when we think about bias, people think of, well, you know, you have to have a really ill intent. No, bias is something that we all have because we all have our influences. We all grow up in the world in a certain situation, in a certain area, and you can actually see when we measure bias, how where we are born, where we grew up, influences what we expect to be normal. So when artificial intelligence grows up, when it is being created, when it is being trained, it is being trained by human beings. It is being trained by collections of images that have certain metadata. And so that's how it learns. So let me try to explain to you maybe some of these ideas here. Some of it is not complicated, so you'll probably get it very quickly. And just for fun, let's see what we can do. And start with a nice little innocuous image of a kitten. So what I did on Canva is I searched for cat on the beach. So I arranged these pictures all in quadruplets. So there's always 4 images. That's not what Canvas does. Canvas gives you 1 image, but it kind of shows always 4 images. And so I've arranged them all in this thing. Now you can see some of those pictures here look like photos. Some look like paintings, and it's actually not bad. You can see how the background people are a little bit blurry. So some of this seems to be much more advanced. I mean, we've all seen artificial intelligence pictures by now, but this, okay. Actually a cute cat in all of these pictures. And so there we go. Now, if I had a cat, could bring that cat to the beach, make that cat sit down to take a photo, I could do that. I couldn't do the painting, so that's where I would be stopped. I've tried painting. No, I can't do that. So let's do something a little bit different. Let's try cat in a spaceship. Because who wouldn't want to have a cat in a spaceship? Let's forget that animals shot into space oftentimes don't live long. And we all know about Laika the dog, hopefully. I don't want to know what happened to Laika the dog. But we regularly shoot animals up into space to see what happens to their physiology, how radiation treats them, how lack of gravity, as they used it on Earth, treats them. And so, okay, interesting spaceship designs. Spaceships apparently that fit one cat. They actually look more like helmets. One in the top right corner looks like someone looked at a Millennium Falcon and thought, let's make this a different kind of spaceship. Anywho, cats are also cute, but apparently I didn't enter the photorealistic mode, so it looks a little bit more like drawings, which is fine. We all know that there is no cat maneuvering a spaceship. Okay, let's try something else. Here we have cat in a spacesuit in space. Because I figured, well, you know, the thing in the spaceship looked a little bit hokey. Let's try even hokier. Let's try the cat in a spacesuit. And here you have cat in a spacesuit in space. Very cute cats. They look as surprised as they should, floating in space. And yeah, I don't want to say it's believable, but there they are. Okay. Maybe try something even weirder. Kitten playing with tiger. And okay, you could imagine that being possible. Kitten looks very unafraid. You can see the tiger's eyes look a little bit AI-ish, so there's something going on, especially in the top right corner here. And the ear there on the right looks like the typical AI artifacts. I figured, why not do something completely different now? Shark playing with spider. And that's sharks playing with spiders. Again, as cartoons, as you would imagine. Okay, something that doesn't really happen in real life. Good. Now, I think I entered China, and it gave me these rather stereotypical traditional depictions of what we would imagine Chinese culture pre-Cultural Revolution to look like. Yeah, so the computer apparently is a romantic, gives us these dreamy looking pictures. Actually also rather beautiful. I don't know how true to Chinese culture they are. I've never been to China, so I can't really judge what I'm seeing here, but I suspect it's an accumulation of stereotypes. Okay. I figured, well, why don't we look at stereotypes then a little bit more clearly? And I entered Indian person, because I'm well aware of the dual use of the word Indian, you know, American Indian or Native American, and Bharati Indian from India. And so what we get here are very traditionalist, very stereotypical depictions that, well, I don't know what they show. If they show Native Americans, they show the typical stoic Indian-looking kind of expressionless or looking down, manly, traditional manly. Yes, and I end up person, so I get 4 male identifiable people. 2, maybe 3 of them, maybe all 4 of them would probably rather look Native American. Maybe 1 could pass as Indian from India, but all of them again play with stereotypes. Okay, I ran the same thing again. So the computer was onto me, and I figured, like, okay, let's show him the other type of Indian. And now we are getting the stereotypical depictions, although some could be a little bit confusing. But anyway, we're getting more stereotypical depictions from what we would expect maybe from India. Okay, again, Indian person yields 4 men. Okay, computer, let's make it a little bit more clear, but still ambiguous, and just ask for an indigenous person. Okay, here we come with the headdresses, still the stoic kind of depressed look, Indian at the end of the trail look, and we get 4 unhappy looking Native American stereotypes. All, if I can read this correctly, male. I see some of the faces, some of them look very similar, so there may be a limited database. Okay, I'm running this again. Let's see whether we can get a woman. Nope. Indigenous person again, stoic face, head dresses galore, nudity, partial nudity, traditionalist, romantic, stereotypical depictions. Okay, apparently indigenous people are not modern. Okay, let's specify Native American. And it doesn't really get better. I think I've seen the top left person on American Spirit cigarette boxes or packs. I don't know, I'm not a smoker. I guess it's a pack. And okay, some feather arrangements seem to depict different tribes. And I guess the 2 on the right, in order to make sure it's Native American, they give us red, white, and blue. Okay, yeah, so we are Americanizing. And of course, the blue kind of also goes in a turquoise direction. I don't know which tribe or nation that is supposed to be. Okay, but I still did not get a female identified person. So let's make it a little bit more clear. Indigenous woman. Okay, here we go. Of course, these are now women, female identified. Again, traditional-ish, stereotypical, stoic, slightly maybe annoyed look, playing on this notion again of indigenous people have to somehow look not modern. Okay. Now we've played around with the notion of Indian, indigenous, native. What does Pakistani person look like? Now, to my surprise, Pakistani person produces a woman. And otherwise, we see also traditional-ish depictions, because how else can you tell that you have a Pakistani person here than to show, well, assumed traditional dress or stereotypical dress. And of course, we have to have a picture here because the assumption is Pakistani means Middle Eastern. You have to have the desert picture with a barefooted person. Okay. Now let's go to maybe the stereotype Jewish business person. Oh boy. Yes, again, all men. We see beards, we see glasses, we see apparently money. Apparently business people always have to have money, and especially if they're Jewish, they have to have even more money. And in the top right corner, I can't decide whether behind him is supposed to be a Star of David or some kind of Freemasonry symbology, because, you know, AI right now is not really good with detail like that. So it all looks like, could be anything. On the left picture up there, I assume it's supposed to be a Star of David. It looks very mangled. And the writing in both top pictures looks like some weird calligraphy. So it's not really Hebrew, but the connotation with money, with beard, is very clear. So that is apparently right out of the box of the Stürmer. And let's try Palestinian business person. Of course, you have to have the stereotypical depictions, the scarf. There's also money involved, but clearly less so. I don't see gold. I don't see any cultural items at all, other than partially the dress. And it seems there's more of an idea of Bedouin that informs this. Okay, let's look at how a German business person is assumed to look like. And here we have all kinds of people that don't look nothing like me, because we all have blondes here. Also all have glasses. I'm told Germans and glasses is a thing. Maybe. Well, I do drive my optician crazy with wanting only a certain type of glasses, because I don't care about fashion. Okay. None of them look medieval. They all look modern. So as a contrast to what we've seen before. And I don't know what German culture is supposed to be. I've seen German offices that actually doesn't look that wrong, but the typical German lights folders are missing, and so whatever you see there as folders is really not quite correct. But okay, we find 4 German men here that could be right out of a Leni Riefenstahl movie. Okay, as expected. American business person. Yes, okay, Americans like to wear their flag, but this is beyond ridiculous. But, at least there's a black person, and there are people of different ages, of course all men, because a business person cannot possibly be a woman. And I'm sorry, the flag thing is just ridiculous. And I think down on the lower right there, that looks more like Elvis. Pre-eating disorder, but who am I to talk? Okay, well, we know the Americans are very patriotic. What do the French look like in AI's imagination? Yes, we see the stubbly beard, we see the hair, we see the kind of, well, the look that is supposed to mean I'm better than you. So everything that French people assume to have. Not my experience, but oh well. Then lower left, that may look like something like Paris. Lower right too, so because people don't know what French culture really looks like. Okay, on the top right corner is an attempt at a French flag. Otherwise, we try to figure out how to associate Frenchness through architecture. Okay. Actually, there's a lot of Germans that look like that too. So, but apparently Germans have to be blonde and French people brunette. Okay, well, I'm not familiar with stereotypes. Good, different countries. Let's try to see what a Nigerian business person would look like. It's becoming a little bit more difficult, so we don't know really what makes these four men, again, men, Nigerian, but apparently they're all assumed to be modern, and yeah, you could. Well, there are quite a few people living in modernity in Africa. Now, Nigeria being one of the leading countries of Africa, being a very successful country, and you have a lot of business people also from Nigeria all around the world. Okay, but no notion of culture, maybe a notion of some kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to say. What is Nigerian about these four people, but you be the judge. Ethiopians apparently have women. So there's an Ethiopian woman here. On the upper right corner, some notion of culture and geography. And then upper left, also some notion of geography. So there's a more distinct idea that AI has about what Ethiopia might look like. Yeah, in contrast to Nigeria, Nigeria doesn't look like anything because we just see offices, at least here. Apparently, we know a little bit how the place of the earliest human habitation on the entire planet may look like. Yeah. Well, it's nice to see actually that there's an assumption of modernity here. That is refreshing. Let's try Liberia. And I mean, for those of you who are aware that Liberia is called Liberia because the United States didn't want to have all those freed slaves, and they sent some people back, founded the land of the free Africans, Liberia, and named the capital after President Monroe, Monrovia. And so the flag is kind of a version of the American flag, but AI doesn't seem to know how it looks like. So we get very strange distortions of the American and Liberian flag that kind of mesh together. Again, the AI doesn't know how the country looks like. We only see offices, and we only see men. Let's go away from the business person to just American person. Now I can agree that Tom Selleck, or whoever that's supposed to be in the upper right corner, is a very successful image of the American. They gave him Indiana Jones's hat, and all four of those people are draped in American flags. Now, I've seen the lower right person probably all over Oregon. I guess I'm starting to look like that, but I'm a little too overweight for that. And then we see the optimistic older American, and I don't know what that person in the upper left corner is supposed to be, maybe Nicolas Cage. And all of them, again, ostentatiously wrapped in the American flag. Okay, we get it. They're American. And then, how does a German person look like? No, not a business person, but German person. Well, apparently they look like someone who would serve in World War I. I don't know what the person on the upper right is wearing on the head. I don't even know what that is. I cannot tell you what that is. They're apparently all old. And lower left image, I have no words. I have no words. Palestinian person. Okay, contrary to Africans, Europeans, Americans, Palestinians are depicted as living in the sand, looking very tired, exhausted, and traditional, but not modern. Yeah, so that apparently is our stereotype of Palestinians. That is not quite the kind of people I've met. And this is showing again the kind of cultural attitude we have towards Palestine. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Let's look at aging. 65-year-old person. Well, again, no woman. And I think the computer thinks 65 is advanced old age. I think these people may have been 65 50 years ago. Or depends on where you assume they are from. But I think they look a little older than a 65-year-old person. Maybe I'm spoiled. I'm primed to people from well, Eastern and Western Europe and from the United States. But I don't think that's a current representation. Let's look at 65-year-old woman. And I have to, again, put woman in there in order to show a woman. Now, remember, we only saw that Pakistani and Somali persons could also be women. Everybody else, we have to prompt. And again, I think this is not the 65-year-old that you would see nowadays. All of these look much older in the picture. And so we have an assumption already of that number triggering us into believing someone looks much older than they probably are. Okay, let's have this be with humans. And let's look at alien. Now, maybe a little bit of a jump here, but let's play around. Yeah, we all are familiar with the variants of the gray alien. That apparently seems to be the cultural stereotype. Betty and Barney Hill style narration influenced that, and I was surprised that there's no Spock here, so that's not, I mean, all of these are, as far as I know, fiction also, so, and they don't look nice either. Yeah, I mean, if you give me a gray alien, give me someone like Thor from Stargate, at least that's a cute little fella. Yeah, and there's no E.T., there's no alien from the Alien movie either, but I mean, they look like they could be that mean, so who knows? Their mouths are rather human, so that's where they deviate from the gray stereotype. I don't know whether one on the right has, lower right has handles, and I don't know what kind of mental illness is depicted on the one in the lower left corner, but oh well. Well, speaking of mental illness, let's look at concepts. Let's look at white supremacy. Told you I'll go there. We know that AI still can't write. I think these are weird. They look like some kind of weird death cult with lettering, one on the lower, on the upper left. Some of the letters actually look Hebrew, some look Roman. You can decipher kind of words like wit or white. There's even wild, lower left. Some like decapitated, wild, German barbarians, if I may say so. Weird assemblages in the lower right. I honestly can't tell you what that's supposed to be. Is that supposed to be the QAnon shaman there? Or is this some kind of Ku Klux Klanish person? And on the upper right, you have weirdly intertwined black and white bodies. Okay, so whatever the computer is thinking about white supremacy, it's not good. It's not like I think it's good, but I don't think it's, I would not come up with these pictures. That's for sure. Okay, let's look at fascism. Again, computer can't spell. Predictable color scheme, but also some kind of mixture between the Nazi colors and American colors. Otherwise, typical depictions of brute masculinity. Actually, in the lower left corner, I think there's even a woman depicted. Okay, women can be fascists, but not persons. Interesting. Yeah, and on the lower right, I think the computer wasn't quite sure how to distinguish communist and fascist and Nazi and American propaganda, and so they just came up with everything in one. Yeah, you could say that, I guess it's supposed to be wheat. That could be the laurel on Caesar's head, but I don't know. And in the middle, that guy, if that's a guy, it looks like someone with Hitler's hairdo, but a face with no markings. Okay. Well, it looks like the computer doesn't approve, which isn't bad, but I just don't know what it doesn't approve of. Zionism. Okay. Now the left top. Yeah, that could be huddled masses trying to get to their traditional homeland. Top right looks like some kind of cartoon pretending to tell some history. And two on the bottom are just wild. Again, combining American and mock Jewish symbology. Just odd. Yeah, it looks like the Capitol building based on Middle Eastern-ish or old Roman ruins. Yeah, I just don't know what to say to that. Okay, if this is not dark enough, let's Google final solution, not Google, Canva. So we see camps. We see, okay, on the lower right, that could be some French exile facing existential dread. Okay, I don't know why that looks like France. I guess it's an Eiffel Tower-ish thing. Yeah, but I don't know what the top right thing is. That is the computer thinking of something honestly weird. But I can tell you the emotion that comes up when I think of something like Final Solution. It gets the emotional content right, but I don't know what that is on the top right. Trying it again. Yeah, okay. Still can't spell the pseudo movie title. And then the top right, that's downright spooky. These chimneys with roots hovering over what seems to be like a concentration camp. That is actually very original. I must say the computer did a good job here doing whatever that is supposed to be, but it is freaking me out. Now then on the lower left, I think they're supposed to be skulls, but what these balls are supposed to be, these spheres, I don't know. Maybe it's not primed in thinking alien and his thoughts along the line of spheres. And lower right, that actually is good. That looks like evoking some of the images from World War II and the Holocaust, so can't complain about that. Let's give it another try. Actually, it's getting better, except with spelling. And again, I don't know what that on the lower left is, why there are two Eiffel Towers together with this weird round spaceship-ish thingy. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I watched this old French science fiction show once called Tripods. Kind of evokes that to me, but it's odd. Otherwise, not doing a bad job. I know it's a little bit dark, but you know me by now. So let's put this to a different level. Let's look for existential. I think this is where the AI really shines, where we can look into the mind of a computer that has consumed too much dark human art. I hate it when people say this speaks for itself, but this speaks for itself. So here you go. This is, if computers are afraid, this is what I would assume them to see. Let's continue with that theme. And I think I primed the search when I searched for alien earlier. The one on the lower left looks like the computer watched Eraserhead. Haven't seen that movie. Brilliant David Lynch movie. I've seen it. I never want to see it again, ever. It's so good and so disturbing. But it's David Lynch for you. Top left, I don't know whether these are jellyfish or floating brains. But there's something about a circle and something about heads or alienish things that the computer apparently is depicting. Because that was so much fun, let's try it again. Weird skeleton. A variant of Van Gogh. Strange cartoon. And again, something with a tree and roots. And are these little weird? I don't know. The computer has watched Eraserhead. That's all I can say. Okay, let's go to something different. So let's ask the computer what happiness looks like. If that's happiness, it freaks me out even more than the existential stuff. Okay, the flowers in the top right corner, okay. But the sea of probably smiling people right out of a Studio Ghibli cartoon, maybe? Is that what the computer watched? Yeah. Chihiro, is that what that is supposed to be? It's freaking me out. It's not as bad as this here. Happiness. Okay, the computer figured out how to do teeth. White people are happy, girls are happy, children are happy, and all those white girls look alike. And the teeth showing like a chimpanzee grinning in order to show their teeth and show how much they can bite. I'm sorry, I'm not much for that grin, and this is just pathological. This is scary. Sorry, just my opinion. Okay. Well, let's continue on a happy note. Ask the computer what utopia looks like. Okay, floating cities, Towers of Babel with a little bit of green. But, yeah, maybe as predicted, I wouldn't want to live in that. Looks a little odd. Again, maybe Miyazaki-ish influences. Yeah, goes a little bit back to some of the China stereotype we had about like Asia being advanced, China allegedly, but Japan also for a while. I still remember when Sony was the coolest thing ever, which I still think, but oh well, I'm old. Okay, but utopia here looks as predicted. So does dystopia, yeah. I think these could just be movie posters for the next dystopia movie. Nothing would have to be changed. That's just as what you would expect. Now, maybe the computer went a little crazy. Let's ask the computer how a crazy computer would look like. And yeah, why are these all Windows computers? Is Windows crazy? I resent that. Long-time Windows user. Started with Windows 3.1. Okay, yeah, so let's go to something more happy. And so that means we have to look at cats again. How would a cat on Mars look like? The cat owns Mars. The cat isn't bothered by the lack of oxygen, different gravity, and dust and lack of mice. And the cat just looks superior as the cat is supposed to look like. Okay, well, that was enlightening. So now that we've seen all this, what's the takeaway? Person means man, unless Pakistani or Ethiopian woman. National stereotypes are alive and well. Concepts are difficult. Computers are weird. And whoever is training those computers, whoever is doing the meta tagging, we need to all do a better job. If this is what the computers teach about humanity, we have a long way to go. This is why some technology doesn't work if you're different. This is why these oxygen meters that some of us used during the high time of the pandemic don't work well on black skin color, because they are based on the thing being able to see your veins. This is why some artificial cars or automatic cars may run over black people, because some Google searches associate black people not with being human. Yeah, and so we've learned all kinds of things. What we've learned here is the old rule, garbage in, garbage out. This is what we teach our computers. This is what we teach the World Wide Web. This happens to you also if you do Google or Bing or other searches, that you will get biased results. And this here is just the latest representation of that. But with the exception of the computer's strange opinions about existentialism, we get a reflection of us ourselves. So we are looking at a computer that's been looking at us and giving us back an image of what we probably think. I don't like it. I think, however, it can be improved. I'm glad the computer likes cats. I think a cat on Mars right now doesn't work. Maybe in the future. Otherwise, I hope that was entertaining for you, a little bit different. I'm Dr. Philip Kneis. This is Erratic Attempts, and see you soon.